Okay, let's go ahead and give this a run. Log in so the background noise diminishes a little. I don't know why, but for whatever reason, the title screen does not pick up the audio settings. I guess it's because it's loading from the card. Kind of makes sense when you think of it that way. Howdy, everybody. We're taking the slow roll in because this is an impromptu live stream, as one tends to do when one is myself. This is, as usual, a grumpy old guy. And we're going to be streaming a little Fragment. Minor history lesson for those who may not be familiar. Fragment in the Dot Hack series to a lesser extent. But specifically, Fragment is kind of the historical backbone of the channel here. Made way too much content in the low to middling range. But I did try and take a more scholarly approach to what I was doing, trying to reason out the hows and whys of what worked without getting too in the weeds. Something that people still mention to this day, actually. I just got an in-game mail the other day about it. I love how it saves all of this, by the way. Got a lot in 2021. And yeah, just got one in 2024, ironically, from a Wave Master with the exact same model that I got my first in-game mail about. And yeah, this is one this one here is one I doctored up for the intro to a video. God, that was fun. Even tried to simulate the colored text from the in-game emails in IMO, Q infection, mutation, outbreak, and quarantine. But anyway, we're going to dive back in, do a little Fragment, run a couple of fields, and I'm just going to be an old grouch, actually. I tend to not do that too much, but I've had this sort of sour milk taste in my mouth, figuratively, speaking metaphorically. But there's been this sort of uneasiness when the subject of Fragment comes up. And I really got to thank Emus here for kind of getting me out of my funk with it. Because there were a lot of things that just sort of had me checked out of Fragment, as I'm sure you've noticed if you've seen my videos. Between that and people really digging the Dragon Quest II / tabletop RPG format, which, quite frankly, has been an absolute riot to put out there. Just sort of love going off the cuff on those. And there's plenty more to come. I should have an active week of games. But I wanted to get on and stream some Fragment because I really haven't touched Fragment since January on the channel. And I haven't streamed it. As crazy as this sounds, I actually had to go back and look. I haven't streamed Fragment since August of 2023. There was a time I did this weekly. Almost hadn't touched it in 8-9 months. Things I will be going over today, just the sort of general state of things. I am going to probably alienate a whole ton of Dot Hack fans when they see this or hear about this, as it is a close-knit network, as I'm going to give my honest thoughts on the IMOQ / Fragment remasters re-releases topic. So that should be fun. And, just the general state of things. Did want to plug, and I'm going to put it in the description. I'm going to link it. Necro-san, Necro, started putting out their Dot Hack series. Wanted to make mention of that. Their first video is out, going over the very beginning of Infection. I gave it a look. As my voice decides to go away, allow me to grab some tea. Not sick or anything, just old. But I gave it a look yesterday. Very informative, very high quality. Loved the work. I encourage you to check it out, and we'll be linking it in the description of the video. Go ahead, give it as many views as you can, because this series deserves some love. And the community's kind of got to go and search it out for themselves. So anything we can do to signal boost each other. I know I got on last week, I want to say, with a couple of people who were streaming on Twitch. And sadly, I guess I heard, didn't save the video for future viewing. But it was kind of cool to head on. And then Emus messaged me and said, "Hey, I caught the stream you were on." I'm like, "Oh, I was on a stream. That's good to know." Also fun to see people hanging out in the server. We got V's place already occupied. Got to love that. I'm head into Shining Darkness because I'm a creature of habit. Hey, Excalibur, how you doing? I'm glad you were able to catch the stream. I was actually looking for your stream the other day. You guys have been doing the Phoenix Wright series. That's been an enjoyable view. Generally lurk when I can. I'm not much of a commenter, but I've been digging the jokes and everything. Sounds like you guys have been having a blast. That said, I do appreciate you coming in and checking this out. Not too much of note on this one, just playing some Fragment and babbling off the top of my head on various topics, like how much fun it is to kill digital representations of digital representations, and why I don't think we would even want a remaster and re-release of Fragment. Nothing explosive. Just making sure I've got all of my items bought. I'm pretty sure I topped off beforehand. Yeah. I did get on and run a quick farming dungeon with a couple people earlier. An abnormality, so there wasn't a Phoenix Wright stream. Gotcha. I will keep my eyes out for it. Always a fun time. Just like, it reminds me a lot of times just goofing off with friends, and that is kind of the best thing. Some games that would lose their charm in the event of a remaster. That is part of it. This game is very much a product of its time. And another thing I would point out, and it's probably my hot take on it, but there haven't been that many remasters from this era that haven't been flaming dog turd. I mean, Rockstar couldn't get Grand Theft Auto right, and that is the backbone of a billion-dollar company. Bandai does not care that much for Dot Hack, and as much as I love Dot Hack, they will never care that much for it. This would be garbage. That's where I stand on it, and I hate to be that guy, but I'm gonna be that guy. Because it's one of those things you see with Dot Hack all the time. People get in, especially once they find out that Fragment is alive, and well, they really want that remaster. They're pushing for it. They would love to see it. And oh my God, would it be awful. I mean, the microtransactions for things alone. Never say never, indeed. Yeah, I just... Plus, I think it would really kind of diminish the amazing things that happened here. Like, this was a Japan exclusive game that wasn't even supposed to be out for a whole year, and its popularity sort of supplanted that. And seeing it all these years later, we've got a full translation due to a dedicated group of volunteers. We've got online server hosting for both the lobby and the area servers in general. And by and large, and albeit frankly weird at times, but an engaged community. And while the game is never like gangbusters busy, it's consistent. Even in its dead periods, you could usually find like one or two people. Got a Kikoku. That sounds like a twin blade. Yup. But anyway, I'm sure I'll be getting into that 7 or 8 more times around. We've got a nighttime forest field here. and this is a magic tolerant enemy, so let's try some stick punch magic here. Clearly not going to work out too well for me on that, so we'll just go ahead and break its magic resistance. Oh, good, it's wood element. Forgot that about the Hand of God. Rocket. These rooms up here are empty, but I'm not in any hurry, so we'll check them out. Yeah, nothing at all here. Not even a piney apple, which I may have 99 of. Not 100% sure on that, but tended to rack up a bunch of those in the, okay, only 45. I stopped pulling those at the right time. A lot of Guild Seal runs. Forest stage music was always your favorite. Unfortunately, fair enough. Hey, I appreciate you stopping by, Excalibur. Looking forward to the Phoenix Wright stuff, and yeah, hopefully talk soon. Just keep rolling on my merry way through this lovely evening forest, which means I am not throwing a weapon in the Spring of Mist when I get there, because that will diminish it. Okay, good news is we've cleared the field portals. Bad news is we got 2 Hands of God. Kind of the antithesis of double your pleasure. Also got a bit of slowdown, which just happens when you're drawing large rooms. That should hit both. There we are. Wow. 21 hit points left. What a champ. Folks, if you're checking this out live or in the replay and you get a chance, check out Excalibur's channel. He and his crew do some great live streams. And yeah, like I said, signal boost the peeps whenever you can. See, little rooms like this, I absolutely love about the forest. You're not going to see this elsewhere in the game, and it's a lot of cookie cutter assets on most of it. But just the maze-like nature of a forest field, and just these diagonal chests, it gives it that little something different. You have to enjoy the little something different, even if I am going out of my way to say it incorrectly. Got some nerfs today. Finally getting back on track in the Northwest campaign, but I'm not going to go into detail about that because I'll be going into detail about that sometime Sunday or Monday when I do a Dragon Quest video upload. Well, I'll at least record it those days. I don't know when it's coming out. Got a fairly busy couple weeks coming up here, so. Into the donjon we go. Got a fairly sprawling first floor from the looks of it. Get these boosts back up and active. Yay. The maidens are really what worry me. I mean, they're darkness element. I think they're spark maidens, which is probably right where the sleep comes in. I think I may want to swap out, but I'm not sure what wand I would swap out for. I'm thinking Caduceus Rod for Lancier. I tend to keep my big 3 on hand these days. I just want to check my gear real quick and make sure that I will have a GAN element together. Blade Chain, no. Sublime Stole, no. Uberguard or Vakrom. Okay, Organzot's on the Graves. Yeah, I can absolutely make that swap. Let's go ahead, stack the Caduceus Rod, and we will just go ahead and keep Organzot on L2 and square. Just throw a little Lancier love right up in that L2 and triangle, and let's make L2 and X. Let's make that Marrows, just for something quick. That'll give us a bit more punching power and get those things out of the way before the Maidens can really hit us with status effects. Yeah, that's a big old difference. Now, prime form, at the height of my hubris, if you will, I would more than likely be going out of my way to just keep doing the random wand swap of doom. Could have probably stick punch magic to that, but we are mage, so let us magic. Plus, we're on the Caduceus Rod, so our physical attack went down from my usual 50. Gotta be honest, we're just opening every portal with Lancier now, and having the little delay there while the summons comes up is huge, because we can go ahead and pop that Bane. I believe it's the Beast's Bane. Dropping that Hand of God's magic resistance down to 0. And letting Lancier take its full effect. Oh, that's huge. Dark Maidens, not Spark Maidens. Certainly more than enough power in that shot to take him out, but the elemental hit is always fun for bragging rights. Okay, we got a Hand of God there. Still going to sneak in the Beast's Bane in time. So it wasn't even a wasted spell. See, I'm going to get the hang of this game yet. Only taking me like 4+ years. Crazy to think that 2024 will be the 5th calendar year I've been uploading on YouTube, which by extension means have been playing Fragment. Started back in August 2020, so the difference between calendar years and actual time, again, rather misleading. For those who may not know, I'm a fan of the phographs, the pro wrestling, the fake fighting, if you will. One of my favorite statistics to throw out there is that Ric Flair and Sting had matches in 4 consecutive decades. It's a very misleading stat, because the first match was like in 1989 and their last match together was in like 2010. Magic tolerant. And that failed, because I hit the wrong button. Yes, I did. I think that took. Let's check it out. Yep. Now, Stairs Charm, we got to watch out for that. What am I doing? I have Marrows on shortcut, folks. Sometimes I'm a big old dummy. There it is. Sneak my full heal in before my Artisan's Soul. Maximize that resource usage. Yep, big old dummy, this one. Completely had a water spell equipped, which turned out to be brilliant forethought. If only I would use the thing, right? But hey, we made it through, and survival is the name of the game if you don't read the cover and see that it's actually .hack fragment. Picked up the Fool, which is me. I should start collecting. I want to say the Hanged Man. Probably the Hanged Man. I want to say that's Paralysis. Start hitting those for a status effect. honestly, the only characters I have that really do the status effect thing are Wee and Repkosai, my Blade Master. God, I can't even remember the last time I played Wee. So what we're going to do here is just cheese the hell out of this battle. Just going to take them out one at a time. And we're just going to lock them in place with the summons. Keep running around while they can't move. And I think the Orvacron may be enough. Oh yeah, more than enough. Hello, Roy. How you doing today? Getting back to a little Fragment. I hope all is well with you. Been a while. Picking up a Resurrect here and moving down to floor 2. I am doing fine. Just kind of hanging in, doing the thing as we do. Catching up with a little Fragment today. Literally named it Fragment Quarterly because I didn't realize it had been 3 months since I had done anything Fragment related on the channel. Plus, I think it's a nice little interval. I mean, it's safe to say I've played my fair share of this. And one of the things I wanted to touch on today is, as cool as it's been to play this game. Ooh, that's no good. Star Viking. We got some serious light tolerance there. Yeah, I have been playing Dragon Quest specifically too. That's been a riot. I've been able to do that and sort of upload my TTRPG stuff as it's been going. That's been great fun. And I've been doing a fair bit of tabletop RPG stuff. Got 2 parties moving through my campaign world at present, and actually have a session here in a few hours. So, but I can honestly say one of the great things about Fragment, I really got spoiled getting in at 2020. So much of the world had nothing to do. The translation was active and ongoing. It started up in earnest for the patch project. Shortly after I got here, I was sort of lucky enough to sneak in on the ground floor. Got to know a good few of them and a good few of the folks working on and around that. And really, over time, the natural things sort of happened. Everybody went their own way, got involved in their own projects. And, you know, after a while, it's kind of like heading back to the old neighborhood and realizing all your friends' houses belong to complete strangers. Not quite the case in my personal life, oddly enough. One of my closest friends bought a mutual friend's house, and that place ended up catching fire due to some really, really unfortunate stuff. Little glimpse into the old private life there. Yeah, you're not sneaking a Beast Spain in on Marrows. I don't know what I was doing there. And that's 0 for 2 on those. Okay, that one took. Now we just got to get a heal in. Charm failed. Our soul stat's at 99, so Charm should fail. But yeah, part of why I think I was less drawn to Fragment was just sort of that empty feeling. Like the folks that were around all the time that I'd be chatting with and everything, they're all doing their own thing. Certainly wish them well. But aside from some, rather infrequent, because despite the fact that I come on here and babble endlessly, I'm not really a social butterfly. You just don't run into the people anymore. And without that community around, this game is a weird thing. It's fun in its own right live, but probably the biggest thrill is talking about what you had after. I just can't resist throwing that spell out first. That is so ingrained in me. That is crazy. Of course, you definitely don't feel bad when you get that elemental hit and nearly one-shot it. I think if I had a water element boost, I would have got the one-shot there. But I'm not a big fan of carrying too many items around because it just clutters up the old menu. And I do find there are random occasions you need to go through the menu. For instance, level 99 character, the risk of negative effects for data draining just get to be kind of crazy once you get up around level 95. In part due to the weighted experience. You could lose a level as a side effect of a successful data drain and then be spending 4 hours trying to get that level back, if you're lucky. Yeah, I didn't get that one in time. And now we're in serious trouble because we are in the middle of all three. Wow. And our speed boost wore off. Holy moly. This portal is testing the old limits. But I will say this, and it's another point I wanted to hit on today as I am doing my old Grouch rant fest. We'd be dead if we were an optimal character. This is something I see a ton when it comes to people discussing Fragment. And folks, it may be the most overblown thing. I'm going to just say it now. When you're creating your character, don't look for the optimal path. Build what you want to build, play what you want to play. Because after diving way too deep into this game, I can tell you it's not that deep. I like to put out things that sound kind of smart, like the spell guides and whatnot. But honestly, when you're playing this thing, it's not giving you a whole ton of depth of options. And the options it give are honestly better off not being the optimal choice. This character here is level 99. It will never gain another level unless I drop one. The SP poll has been set from character creation on. I had a hard cap of 411 SP at level 99, and I didn't know that till I got there. But just the way you build your character in creation, whether you pick a male or female model, whether you pick tall or short, skinny or fat, that all decides your stats as far as hit points and skill points. May not be news to everyone, but there's a chance somebody comes by and watches this that hasn't really seen an in-depth character creation video, or maybe just picking up the game themselves. Finally remembered with the stare. Now I just need to get a Beastbane take. Always think back to King Worm when I have more than 3 fail in a row. So for 4. There we go. Now we can go off to the races. Dang, I thought it took. Somehow I missed the mess. I don't know. This one may be game over. Watch it run me out of resources here. Wouldn't that be hilarious? Battle's getting a little intense. I don't know if monsters play by the rules, by the way. Something I never did get a definitive answer on. I don't know if they have a set SP pool. I'm under the feeling that they don't, that they have just sort of infinite cast. Like, in a perfect world, you would think the monsters would be scripted just like the characters with a certain amount of HP, a certain amount of SP. But I don't really know if that's the case. I think it may be just a script with activate ability A, activate ability B, attack. Something like that. They clearly have a hit point total. But I don't know about the SP, and I'm certainly not the person to take that guess. Got a whole bunch of small rooms here to lead off the third floor. But yeah, we've been talking over a couple things. Touched on my absence, touched on why I don't think a remaster is coming, or really would be something that would be that desirable on the back end of it. Plus, I honestly don't think Bandai Namco really sees that much profit in it. Star Vikings, we've just been using marrows on these. Do have access to darkness spells, just let's hit the old Fanny Cruise. Yeah. Bad thing to the cruise spells, when they miss, you notice. Honestly, that's some serious damage, though. Yeah, that elemental hit was kind of nice. The misses sure aren't. I was thinking about throwing it on a shortcut, but wow. We got quality seizure cam going there too. Let's just end this with a spell that, wow, that missed. Hats off to the Star Viking. The Star Viking and that stare from last round. I mean, really giving me a run for my money. This is not a crazy high level field, but it is kicking me something fierce. We're down to 69 healing elixirs. Nice. And 55 beast spanes. Holy cow. You know what? Skip the full clear. Clearly not in prime form. Let's just get to the dungeon. Emus. Well, they do play by the rules in terms of SP. Awesome. I honestly figured it would be infinite cast, but they do have a fixed amount in regens. Though it may be different than a player. Fair. Honestly, just given the Astra King, I wasn't sure they had a plausible amount of SP. Just watching those things drop summons after summons, I figured it was just, okay, just do the thing. But as you are the resident mad scientist, I will take your word on it. Also, once again, want to shout you out and say thank you for kicking the old backside into gear and getting me back into a Fragment groove. I was really about as bummed on the experience as I could be. Though I did kind of kick myself the other day. I did stop into Netslum, and lo and behold, more remaster talk, which kind of was the chip I needed to push me into doing a stream. Really wanted to play, and I've been playing a lot off camera in the last couple weeks. Right idea, wrong summons. Okay, wasn't sure if that had the range to hit. Easiest way to see it is the Minear is it doesn't have any SP on res. That's a good call. Honestly, I thought that was maybe an if this then that sort of mercy in the game script, where if it lasted to a certain extent, they just sort of let you go. Dark Maiden put me to sleep. Happy to be back. Can't say I'm back super frequent, but yeah, it's been fun to be back. I was not ironically called a famous YouTuber today, which was humbling and hilarious at the same time. Shows that Fragment truly is a niche community. Yes, they do. Ran a level 98 field yesterday just to see if I still could. And yeah, every time I got hit with a melee attack, just watched the old SP bar go down to diddly. Ooh, a Skull Devil Gone. The kind of monster that lets you know you're playing an RPG. A big old bloody bone demon. The joke in tabletop fantasy games is elf is how you know you're playing D&D. And yeah, I will say bone demon. In general, skeletons, but big old bone demon is how you know you're playing an RPG video game. They are kind of integral to the thing. I think Frank Menser, the author of the 83 Redbox Basic Revision, actually referred to skeleton once as one of his favorite monsters because it was a blueprint. It could be anything. You are far more than a part-timer, Amy's. Just hosting Shining Darkness means that you are part of the very fabric. Like, this stream does not happen if this server is not up. Or it does, but it happens on mackerel. But 2024 has been a very, very odd year. I've been a busy bum, which is fantastic because before that I was just watching life slip by. But it has been nice getting back into a balance and actually enjoying things. And it has been good to see people get back into the game. Skeleton can have legs and not. Absolutely. That's whether you get the full Futurama kid or reference or Leo's having too much time on his hands. See, I was thinking that's the difference between the 40-piece Lego set and the 80-piece Lego set. But true on both of those that you brought up. Though I don't know if Leos actually had any fun doing anything going by the voiceover portrayal. By the way, I'm sure you saw, but just to throw it back out into the ether on the stream again, Necros started uploading Infection. They're planning on doing the whole series. Gave that a watch yesterday I don't know if it came out yesterday, but I saw it. And I gave that a little view. Always fun to go back and revisit a time before Orca got sleepy. I will pass that along. Once we wrap up the stream here, I'm going to edit the description and put a link to the video down in the description. It was good work. Quality upload. Just started the very beginning of Infection. I think they plan on doing the whole series. At least I hope they plan on doing the whole series. Up to floor 5. Yeah. More than part-time indeed. Folks, in case you are unaware, when you come back and watch this sometime in the near future, or maybe you catch this in a bit and just rewind, Shining Darkness has maxed out the word cap. Was that last year or the year before where I did what was feasibly then crazy task of naming all of the keywords, just rattling them off one after the other? Isn't gonna happen again. Yeah. That is fair. But hey, there was a time when there was only like 2 level 99s in Fragment who got it legit. And now that seems to be popping up more and more regularly. Year before? Yeah. Honestly, I did it for laughs. It was great fun to do that time. But oh my goodness. These days, I just can't make it through a sentence without my voice cracking. It's crazy. I've like the worst voice for a non-smoker ever. Pick my favorite words, but there's only so many times you could go to Hidden Forbidden Holy Ground. Who am I kidding? There's never a limit. Just don't enter that dungeon. Game actually being nice and letting me pick up a couple resources. Kind of forgot for a bit there, and then that stare reminded me we really got to go quick clear because I ran into like the worst stare of all time. And I think I went like 0 for 10, 0 for 11 before finally hitting a Beast Bane. Ever blue, yes. It is certainly Aqua Eternal. Oh yes, another thing I wanted to mention. The BBS on the Fragment from the NetSlum channel totally lucked out on the number of Tales from the BBS uploads that I was able to sneak in there before the inevitable happened. And the inevitable is just, childlike humor. And I get it. I've told plenty of immature jokes myself. We'll probably do some later. Not everything is everybody's cup of tea. Humor is like all things subjective. But oh my God, some of the things on that BBS just kind of take you to a point where you realize that whoever typed them totally isn't thinking about the fact that other people play the game. Face words are classic and somewhat insulting towards the word selector. Somewhat, yes. All in good fun on that one, though. Here we go again. There it is. Ah, yes, the Chick-fil-A server. And then 2 schmucks came in and ruined that fun. Big elemental hit on that. I think we're close to the statue room. Nope, we totally aren't. See some stairs down? Just gonna skip that treasure chest. Do I even have enough to consider? Down to 43 Beastbane. Getting back into wave 2 of the Hand of God saga. Ooh. At least this one played nice. We got some movement in between, but it was just enough to hit the Beastbane on the second Hand of God. Can't complain about that at all. Of course, I love seeing those because we're going to hit those 99 out of 100. One thing I do feel bad about are the people who find the game not through NetSlum and try and matchmake through the BBS. I kind of wish I had the patience to just signal boost and bump the Discord one. But yeah, the last couple times I've checked up on the bulletin boards, it's just shot. Nice. Picking up more of the Fool, which is not a very useful status element, because 9 times out of 10, if the monster's confused, it's just going after a hero anyway. Wow, that was a weird thing. It kind of got caught mid-movement and literally looked electrocuted during that. I hope that came through on the stream. It was sort of a dark portion of the room, but was all jumping around there. Big old room. And this one's just slow walking through a thunderstorm. Elemental hit is huge on that. We did find out earlier that we have almost enough to one-shot it without the elemental hit. Did come through. Awesome. I'm going to have to go back and use that for the thumbnail. Did we get 2 there? Yeah. Content creator brain kind of kicked in, and I was looking at the time when the portal opened. Oof. Well, that was our pulse-pounding excitement moment. 18 hit points. Got our entertainment and excitement. Now we got another devil gone. I think we got a 10 floor on our first dungeon. Which means that my goal of running more than 2 dungeons is probably out the window, because I have some time, but not a ton. Oh, wow. Yeah, floor 9 is going to be easy at least. I'm not even going to rebuff Rig Game and Rig Same until 10. I'll take my chances. I think that may be the first time I've ever mentioned having a limited amount of time and the dungeon being like, well, okay, here's a conflict-free floor. Safe to say, unless Emus did more evil scientist stuff, this is the last floor of the dungeon. Yes, yes, they do. But that's not as much fun as random word, which is the theme of any time I talk on a live stream. It is definitely random words. Whew. Pretty good skill drain hit on that one. I may do a 0 floor dungeon next to balance out. That's a fair point. Still disappointed that that video didn't get any traffic. I was so thrilled for it. I even did that probably doomed me actually doing the kitschy YouTube thing where you do the all caps sentence just as a call to action. This is bizarre, so I'm talking in all caps as a question. Should not think so little of my audience. But that was such a fascinating thing. Maybe someday it will get its popularity. Only took me 5 years to be known as a famous YouTuber. Once again, within the confines of the NetSlum Discord and nowhere else. Certainly not even in my house. Wow, did it not hit the one that I got the Beast Bane on? That's crazy. Algorithm. YouTube has ruined the meaning of the word algorithm. I cannot hear it now without just instantly getting a headache. 10 years from now, if you ask anyone what the definition of algorithm is, they're going to say it's the reason this video is brought to you by Raid Shadow Legends. And the only implausible part of this is that Raid Shadow Legends will be talked about 10 years from now. I don't even think it's talked about now. I just can't hit spells. I could have switched up from the summons a while ago. I have Organzot. We've used it in this dungeon on those monsters. But I kind of just wanted to get to the finish line. It's a miracle! Axe. The meme helps drive the sponsorship. Absolutely does. Got a couple recovery drinks. I need to start running the 99 fields again. I just gave away 20 noble wines today. Ran into a couple people. I think I mentioned that to you on Discord, Emus. Ran into a couple people who were running, of all things, for the items to trade in offline. They were looking for Ice Bar. So I dove down into the old rares lists and I found the dungeon on Crab, but I couldn't remember the route because, as we know, I read -1 words of Japanese. I think it was left and then straight, if I remember right. I do remember pulling it once, though I think that was accidental. Yeah. Yeah, 2 Wave Masters, actually. One was a Lucy, Luce, and the other one started with an A. And the A guy, Anaraga or something, he was playing a tall boy Wave Master, and they actually got into the discussion about the hit point disparity between them. Been working hard on the levels. Fantastic. There's always those couple that get into the game deep. And, okay, the moon is the one I want for this Wave Master. We're going to start putting things to sleep like it's me talking in a long video. Summon wood. That will buy back all of our Beastmanes. Not that I'm worried about it. We got more than enough on this character as far as gold goes. Don't need those recovery drinks. Yeah, I will have to pop back into Discord and track them down at some point. I promised them a glimpse at the old cheat sheets, the rares lists. I know the crab one's still around. I know Sam, as always, put together an insane quality of list. It really is a shame Bearcat's down by now. I hope she's able to get things back on track. A, just in general for herself, and B, not sure what all is going on there, but I do hope for the community Bearcat comes back up someday. It's crazy to think about the amount of work Dow put into this. I touched briefly on the community kind of drifting apart out of the 2020 group that I was lucky enough to stumble into. Folks like you, Spooky, Dow, V, and so much of this Dow had their hands in. I know they're still around the sort of larger ecosphere. Don't really do much with Fragment anymore, and that's a shame. Understandable. But the game truly that much the worse for not having them around. Just wanted to throw that out there. Gratastic Enchanted Nopon. That's where we'll start. Yeah. Gratastic. If you really want to play the toughest memory game on the planet, remember the order of words in Shining Darkness. Just pick a column. You don't even have to remember all of them. Remember numbers 11 through 20 in the Part B column. And I'm going to say you have one of the best memories on the planet. Is Enchanted even in here? Yes. And then we're going for Singularity. And then we'll probably have to back out and find a new A word for something wood element, because I didn't think about that when we got to this point. As the person who put it together, good luck with that. Absolutely. You got the list. Literally got the cheat sheet, and you're like, nah, that's not there, is it? It is an amazing achievement. And I poke fun at it because I poke fun at everything. Yeah, up the level to 55. Pine Fresh, that seems to be as wood field as it can. 68 wood field. Let's go ahead and run a 0 level dungeon. No guarantee that this is a forest field, but I'm thinking Pine Fresh is going to take me to a forest field. Frowny Face, Pine Fresh, Enchanted Singularity. Here we is. I'm not sure if that showed up, but that absolutely looked... Yeah, there is a door there. There was a door blinking in and out on the left side of the map there. It was a door, and then it wasn't a door, and now it's a door again. Or maybe the eyes are just going cross. We are an hour into the stream. Hey, we remember this. But now we get it light of day. Also want to throw out there, I believe I had mentioned this earlier to Excalibur. We've run 2 dungeons, and they're both forest fields. Control F. The Time and Life Saver. I think I may have to tweak sensibility on PCSX2. It's a couple times I've tried to hit a spellcast shortcut, and I guess I'm just not pushing the L2 trigger in down enough on this PS4 controller. Picking up a couple Fireline hoods, which I'm not throwing into the spring because it's daytime, and we want to improve, so we need a weapon. But I'm not throwing any of my weapons in because they're my staffs. Let's get this thing rocked. Wow. Well, it's been consistent, if nothing else. Which means we really don't want to move off of the Caduceus rod because we picked it up not for those, but rather because we had an earth ability on shortcut from our boots, and we've got the potential for Dark Maidens here. So left side leads to the spring, which I believe through discussions we sort of decided was the unofficial statue room. And if not, that's my suggestion. Avenger. It's a critical hit weapon. Heavy blade, I think. No, life drain, not critical hit. I am bad at remember. Does give Aptorv, though. Love to see that physical accuracy boost for the heavy blades. Once again, that's a big old wind up on those strikes, especially for the non-katana ones. There it is. Next best source of disappointment. Absolutely. And yes, I could have totally triggered the Beastbane last cast and just wasn't thinking. Out of combat, so we'll just cast this the hard way rather than cost me the money for another elixir. Got a treasure chest by Gravestone. Clearly, the graveyard crew not doing the best job of burying folk. It's supposed to be beneath the ground. at the headstone, not next to the headstone. That dude needs some ibuprofen. I remember one of the first graphical tweaks they did for the Digital Eclipse sort of remaster, reworking of Wizardry. They added some skeletons into that first hallway. And they had a good laugh about the fact that the one has an axe splitting the pelvis. Got some axe blade where the sun don't shine, although it is, underground in a dungeon, so where the sun don't shine is kind of everywhere. It did actually have that appearance of a mock treasure room, the little elongated rectangle and everything. Even the Piney Apple room has that sort of shorter rectangle vibe to it. I'm gonna stick with the Monsieur and or Grandpa room though, the Spring of Mist. It just has that little something extra to it. Like the statue chest is obviously the end of the dungeon and that's where you are, but it's not the chest that draws you there. It's the 10-minute exposition in the episode of Sign to save on animations, because if everybody stands still and talks, you don't got to draw that much. Let's throw the Avenger in and see what it turns into. I'm a laugh if it's a critical hit weapon. Level 4 Grandpa. One of the deadliest foes you could face. Infinite hit points. Messes with your gear. Calls you names. It's a honey flower. What is honey flower? It's a level 54 heavy blade weapon that I don't recall ever seeing. And it is not a critical hit weapon. However, it is magically a katana now. So you have wood element multi-target hits and a wood element boost. That's kind of nice. I may trade that over to Gogs using the old chucker. Love that, actually. Good old honey flower. I'm going to throw that in the stash. I think I got time for one more. Helps to sell off both of the Fire Lion hoods. No, both heavy blade weapons. Changed weapon types, but did not change classes. Unless you mean like weapon class, like standard heavy blade versus katana heavy blade. In that respect, it certainly did. You have new zero floor room words. Awesome. Totally loving that. Came for the stream and sticking around for the Shining Darkness exclusive goodies. Okay. Got some beast bands here. Replace all my one speed charms used. Yeah, let's stash that honey flower. Because I will forget about it otherwise and then end up selling it off next time. It's what happens when you hit your head a lot, kids. The brain becomes mashed potato. I'm going to hang out here in the Grunty Ranch for a moment, grab some tea. Okay, we are back. Hopefully I sound a lot less terrible here. And we have a lead from Emus, says column B, and we are looking for the word hollow. So let's randomize our A and C's first. Do megapode and expiration. Megapode. That I'm sure I absolutely butchered that pronunciation, but that was fun. And now we want hollow. Not guaranteed. Well, we'll give it a shot. I know that the zero words really, the zero level's really only going to work on wood elements. So if we get another element, I'm completely fine with a one-floor dungeon here. But it is fun to know that there are multiple routes to them, potentially. If I haven't passed over hollow. There it is. I believe expiration was my C word. It is, and I got distracted by cheese. Hey, level 73 Woodfield. Didn't even mean to make it a Woodfield, but here we go. Let's check this out. Let's see if we get a zero floor out of this. Megapode, hollow, expiration. If a word has a floor count, it may be replaced. Fair. It is a priorities thing. We are back tonight. We are on Night Forest 2. Electric Boogaloo. It's a big old forest. And we do have a treasure chest right behind us. Always a fun way to start. Get a little prize before you tries. Some jungle rage. And away we go. Ooh. We got demon wyverns. And they got death touch. So I want to get out of this right quick and in a hurry. Still one-shotting them with a full hit or Vakrom, no elemental trigger. Do have a dungeon in this one, so that was probably a priorities thing from the other words. My apologies on screwing that up. Did pick up a tree beam spear. I did a good deal of my grumbling early on in the stream. Ooh, one of your favorites. Got a spin idol here. I don't think I want to be messing around too much with these because I think the stab attack's going to hurt me a great deal. And I definitely don't think I want to be throwing land here at it. No, or Vakrom's going to be more than sufficient. Pretend that it's got no dungeon. I will just go into this gradually descending field. What dungeon? What is this dungeon you speak of? We're just walking into the middle of a very large tree. That was smooth. That covered it. But yeah, I did my grumbling. A good bit of grumbling today. I actually lived up to the name. I was a touch grumpy. Grumbled about the BBS. grumbled about the nature of change and how it's inherently uncomfortable for the human psyche. Grumbled about the fact that any sort of remake or remaster, A, would not be cared about enough by Bandai, and B, with the track record of modern remakes, would be hot garbage at its best. And would really kind of discredit all of the amazing work that people have done to make this iteration of the game such a magical experience. So while I get the excitement over the potential, I really don't get the excitement because the potential's kind of awful. You'll be catching up later? Well, I do appreciate you stopping by. Do appreciate the tidbit of the word. As for catching up on the rant from early, I'm just sort of synopsizing now. I find with the live streams, I don't restate what I said earlier enough, so if people are looking for specific things out of it, I kind of ruined it. Because they're not going to go back and watch unless I say, yeah, it's here. Just the little observation I made. But I think the example I made earlier. Okay, the remaining 0-1 floor words only have a chance. That's fair. And the element of the unknown is a very fun thing. Although I do love the fact that Singularity, spoilers for those who haven't tried it, is a guarantee. It's 100%er. Because that's something that's not supposed to happen. And when you run into it in the wild, like, that's kinda, I feel like that's a post-worthy thing. I know back in the day, we had run into a similar thing with an intentionally messed with field. And it got a lot of buzz on the Discord. It got a lot of talking. And that's where I got to on another part of my, old Grouch grumble rant. Where this game is fun to play and even more fun to talk about after. Like, games like this, I think, are the psychological justification for D&D arcs always starting out in a tavern. Because adventurers are naturally just going to want to get together, have something good to drink, and just talk about the crazy adventures they've had. And that's how I view that trope. And that's really how Fragment feels to me. Like, you run into something insane and you have that memory. And then you go and tell your friends, hey, look what happened. Maybe take a screen cap and show them. And then maybe you get a party together and check it out later. Oh my, we hit that death touch right quick and in a hurry. Fortunately, we also had Warvac Rom. So that combat wasn't lasting long either way. Got a good close-up on that, too. We were dying in living color. Couple more rooms to go here. Until floor 2, of course. Just a treasure chest. With more moons. Fantastic. Certainly not min-maxing. And that was the thing that I got into earlier. Like this character, not the optimal one. Wee T is basically the statistically optimal build. Have well over 500 SP at level 99, magic attack through the roof. And it hits like a truck at low to mid level, but by max level, it's not hitting any harder on a spell than Dionysius is. Maybe spam out another high level summons. But for the most part, I really only use Caduceus Rod when I'm worried about something like the Maidens. these days for the status effects. If I'm not worried about having to slam a thing down, I'd rather have BT's wand up for the 50 magic attack. In fact, I'm going to switch back to that now that I'm thinking about it. Get my shortcuts straightened back out here. Meruzat and Farai Cruz. The real game is the friends you make along the way. Or 98 constantly. Or 59 constantly. Because every time you hit 60, you die. That's the solo online dungeon life. Or that time that y'all have a darkness awakening equipped and you get locked in the awakening and then status locked to death in a farming dungeon. That was a good time. Maybe not on paper, but the experience was a blast. But yeah, like, WeT's never going to solo the New Year's Eve dungeon. Dionysius did no problem. Can't even remember if I had BT's wand for that. I think I just ran in with a random thing and just punched it to death. Maybe I was lucky and had Silent Bomber. Wood Maidens. Holy moly, that changes the game entirely. Wood Maidens and me, we got some scores to settle. Much more fun when you vary things. Absolutely. But Wood Maidens. So I'm going to just go back on what I just said and get me some Staff of Truth going. And we're going to set this up proper. Get some Yarthkins. Get some Rhynek for our 10-minute or less shot and get some Balkan going. Guess we could change out Organzat. Put Farai Cruz down there just for 4 different elements. Wood Maidens still scare me. Mixed Twin Blade or Physical Wave Master. Your Twin Blade build is absolutely Haas. Like, it is top tier level. Probably a better caster than my Wave Master. One of these days, you'll have to take it out on a tour with some random new folks so they can see what it's all about, not playing to the grain. Also, and this is just a personal request for anyone who's getting into Fragment or newer to the game, like, just for me, just once, don't get level 70 gear from a net slum server. Wow. I got Yarthkins out for these things. Got them out and then didn't use them. What a stooge am I. But yeah, just use the stuff that's in your level range, maybe a bit better. Or if you use it to the point you're comfortable, somewhere in that mid-20s level, where things are starting to come easier, you're a bit more survivable. And then go out and check out some of the abilities you get from lower level gears. Because level 70 vanilla is nice statistically, but at low levels, all you're doing is press and circle. And it's a boring ass game just walking forward and press and circle. Like, if you want to hit one button and move a direction occasionally, there's an entire Atari 2600 collection. Like, play Asteroids. There are so many fun things you can do in this game that you miss if you just go by statistically best. That's my personal plea for Fragment players. Stop doing the numerically superior thing because it's available. Take that tougher road. Have some fun. You may find yourself able to do something that hasn't been done before. Like actually run into a seasonal event. My goodness, when was the last time anybody mentioned those? Berserk is a fun game. Reminds me a bit too much of the early 20s. Because no matter what you do, your biggest enemy is hitting the wall again. Yes. Yeah, by the time it's actually useful, you're like, well, this kind of sucks. Got all this for what? Take care of that maiden first. Actually did quite a bit of damage to the wyverns, because wyverns have tissue paper for magic defense. Ooh. We got poisoned. Nice little neon light show there. So yeah, now that is truly it. I am out of old Grouch ranting to do. Just going to wrap up this dungeon, enjoy the ride. Then I'm actually going to go ahead and do something I never do. That's pull up some of my material, because the nice thing about doing the session recaps for my tabletop campaign is I could sort of listen along while I'm pouring through my campaign notes on the Northwest that we took a 1 week break that turned into a month on. I honestly didn't think I was playing today. And sometime yesterday evening, the folks hit me up and they're like, hey, we're off tomorrow. And I'm like, oh, really? Got a Conqueror here. That's a res monster. Fortunately, I think we distracted it long enough that Wood Maiden ain't coming back. Unfortunately, not catching those physical hits on the Farai Cruise, the criticals. That one had to be, because we got no damage just to kill. All kind of resurrects today. Also, kind of a deeper dungeon. Watch the C word I picked probably had priority and is another 10 floor. 2 maidens and neither one of them are the lead. Oh, we did take one out. I know it works against logic to go after the other monsters instead of the res monster, but if you can take out 2, you're pretty much guaranteed one's gone. And the big thing is getting rid of that sleep chance. I think it's sleep with them. I don't think it's paralyze with Wood Maiden. At least that's how I'm looking at it in the present. Also got to get a bit quicker on the reflexes like that, so it actually matters. I know nothing I'm casting is going to, stop the Conqueror from casting, but we've been darn lucky so far. Not one res attempt. Also, I do believe by virtue of me not being able to make up my mind, we've hit all 3 staves in this dungeon. Not quite the rapid fire build I used to do, but I'd be dead in the water if I tried it right now anyway. So I'll take all 3 in the same dungeon. Get some jungle rage and rebuff rig game and rig sane. Good luck with the journeys. I do appreciate the good luck. Again, emus, thank you for coming in and hanging out. If nothing else, and plenty of other things else as well. I'm sure we'll catch up soon. For those of you who may not be aware, Emus runs the Shining Darkness server. Is a mod in the NetSlum Discord. In general, just very knowledgeable on the .hack series overall, and just a really great dude. If you get the chance, which is always tough, as the guy's got a busy schedule, but hit this guy up. Get that knowledge. Oh, we got one back up. Knew the res was going to come sooner or later. We were just hoping for later. Nice elemental there, just dropping them hit points. Elemental hit'll do it. There it is. Ask for it and it accidentally comes. This is a sprawling 3rd floor. Just throwing it out there. Hit our hour-and-a-half mark. Don't do too many of these days. And yes, I totally cast Rhinox, so I had time to grab a drink. Rhinox is kind of an emu special with his Wave Master. His main, if you will, his first character. Also another underrated tip for Wave Masters at high level. You could throw out summons like Crake and Rhinox just for the long casting animations, because that will lock the monsters in place and let your other party members run in and get those quick melee hits so everyone can get experience. And online, you have to damage an enemy to get experience for those who aren't familiar with the system. So throwing out a Rhinox that has a good 10-12 seconds between start of cast and dealing damage. Huge advantage for your party because they get to run up and essentially get a free strike. You're essentially grappling a monster, and in a game built around pure damage and maybe some status effects, being able to do crowd control is kind of a nifty side effect. Floor 4. I'm sorry, the 4th level of this rapidly descending field. Just having some fun. Here on an edition of Fragment Quarterly, a stream idea that got born out of my inability to calendar. Ooh. Got some Alucards, so we may be switching back to the Caduceus Rod. Isn't that a trip? We may be a lot worse if I don't heal myself. Why did I fire it? Alucard, of course, Dracula backwards. Everyone loves that. And yeah, let's go ahead and switch back to the Caduceus Rod, this time proper. Let's set them shortcuts up. Replacing Yarthgans will be Craig. I like to set it up between the Caduceus Rod and Staff of Truth for those who are uninitiated, so that the opposed elements are on the same shortcut keys. It's a little way of me keeping things straight in the old scrambled egg mashed potato brain space. I'm getting hungry, if you haven't guessed. Marrow's down in L2 and X. By the way, Fire and Water are like the two quickest summons. I can't think that was by accident. And as soon as I switch, that's okay. We can do this one the hard way. Organzot's right at the top. Truly have access to anything you have equipped if you're willing to go through the menu for it. And now it's a shortcut. So that'll be the last one we run into in this adventure. Big ol' intersection. Fantastic. We at least had the payoff. Wave Masters in this game, crazy powerful. Just by extension of being the only ranged attack specialist. Okay, that's kind of a fun look there. Seeing the rocks coming up from the cavern. That little cliffside, watching them float up. Taking that animation and making it that much more magical, because now we're not just pulling them up out of the ground. We're lifting them out of nowhere. We got 3 res enemies here. 2 of them can paralyze, and I do believe that was the attempt just made. Oh, this is going to be game over, isn't it? Yep. We're going to go down a level to end this stream out. Folks, I got 1,000 experience to build back up. I do believe I'm going to do that off camera. In the meantime, this is a bluish old guy gaming. Ghosting out of this live stream. Got this edition of Fragment Quarterly in, and as expected, lost a level here. So nice thing is it only dropped me 4 SP. I will have to get this level back in the not too distant future, or else I'm gonna forget about it and wonder why I'm level 98. In the meantime, you all take care. Hope whatever you're doing, wherever you are doing well. And I'm sure we will see you around.